to where we see your memes go viral, we see your terms go viral, but at the same time, you're a true doctor. You're a true educator.
Yes.
You're a true author in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophically,
Mm-hmm.
when managing your bandwidth, how do you say, all right, I'm going to entertain, I'm going to educate, or I'm just going to be outspoken and controversial, but all to garner, attention and energy, but then to give out what as we build this brand of Dr. Umar Johnson?
It all depends on the setting. If I'm in church and they ask me to do a sermon, I'm going to keep it strong, serious, boom. If I'm coming to a university, it's going to be 80% message, but I got to throw 20% humor in there to keep their attention. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
The humor is strategically used to keep their attention because, unfortunately, our people aren't serious enough, Nick, to entertain a very serious conversation that doesn't have any entertainment appeal to it. You follow what I'm saying? So I do that purely to hook them.
Right. Okay.
But if I walk into a room and everybody dead serious, I'm staying serious the whole time.
Right.
But if I walk into a room, I'm like, I know I ain't got them back there. I'm going to have to hook them.
Right.
I'm going to have to throw a few jokes at them. I believe that one of the reasons I've been, if you want to use the word successful, no, effective. One of the reasons I've been so effective in our community, from the elders all the way down to the babies, is because although I am absolutely uncompromising in my political positions, I don't expect you to be just like me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Nick Cannon doesn't have to be Dr. Umar for Dr. Umar to be Nick Cannon's brother. You feel me? I walk into a room and there's 6 sisters in there. They got perms and weaves and blonde hair. They know I love women natural. They know I want all black women natural, but they know I'm not going to condemn him for not being. In other words, as strong as he is and what he stands on, he's not going to judge me for not being there.
Right.
And I think that's why they appreciate me.
Okay.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's why I'm tolerated, because it's like, he going to come with it.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you walk by with your snow bunny, he ain't going to say nothing disrespectful.
We
you
know what he
not
think.
feeling it, but he ain't going to disrespect you.
Right.
And I think that is why I get the respect, because what's the word? Is it zealot? What's the word they use for somebody who can't think outside their box? Not narrow-minded. I want to go to that next word. There's another word. I want to say zealot.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not a zealot.
Right.
Some people, if you ain't this, they don't want to be bothered with you.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You don't believe in God. You don't believe in Jesus. We don't want you. I'm not that.
Right.
I'm a Pan-Africanist. And the heart of Pan-Africanism is the unification of all of our people. How can I unify people if I'm steadily judging and condemning them for not being where I feel they need to be?
Right.
There is no compulsion in consciousness. Nick Cannon will come to Black Queens Forever, Snow Bunnies Never in Nick Cannon's time. The sister with the weave will go natural in her time. The grandmother with the white Jesus, she will get a black Jesus in her time.
Understood.
You got to give people time to get to where they need to be.
Okay, so and that means that you believe you are evolved to a space that others may not have.
Absolutely.
reached.
But I think I was always there. And maybe it was the psychologist in me. I mean, in terms of not judging people.
Right.
Maybe it was the psychologist in me, because as a psychologist, you don't judge your clientele. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe that influenced me from the very beginning to never expect everybody to wave the red, black, and green flag like me.
Right.
And then I had an early learning experience.
Okay.
And this was when I was in the Garvey movement. And the Temple University students used to come to my Marcus Garvey Action Committee and study group, right? And when the Temple University students used to come, they used to say, Dr. Umar, I can't say race first. I'm a Christian. I can't say race first. I'm a Muslim. What's with this African people first stuff? I love everybody. God loves everybody. I wouldn't argue with them. I say, just sit in on the meetings. And slowly but surely, they started joining on their own with no pressure. And then I said, I figured this out. We don't have to force nobody. Expose them to the truth. And sooner or later, they will gravitate to it.
Well, that's where we are right now. So I got to go here in this sense, because you said you don't argue. But we have seen. We've seen a lot of discourse.
Sometimes, here's the problem. If somebody cooning too hard, to the point where I know you cooning, it might just pull the ancestors out of me. But I try not to argue. I don't do it much, though.
And again, a lot of times the people that you have discourse with
Mm-hmm.
are highly educated, highly intellectual individuals.
Yes.
And ultimately, it just
And
gets
it's definitely a jealousy thing against me
okay.
with black male scholars in particular on the collegiate level.
So this is where I want
Because my popularity exceeds all of them.
Yeah.
On every campus they on.
Yeah.
And they don't like the fact that when Dr. Umar comes to campus, the students are going to treat me like a rock star.
Right.
And they don't give them the same love. I got a lot of haters in higher education.
Yes, you do. And in media.
So, yes, you do.
Yeah, I've seen it firsthand. Shouts out to all my professors at Howard, though. They love you. They love you. But I've been in many different settings where they try to call you a pseudo psychologist.
Yes.
Not knowing that you literally have all the credits and accreditations that you need and actually have done the actual work.
Absolutely.
And
they really know that.
They know that. And contrary to popular belief, the school is coming.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. FDMG
That's why I
is
don't argue,
happening.
because when they see it, when you know something,
I can't wait to show up. The opening day, I'll be there with you.
Come through. That'll be strong. That'll be strong.
So, but I say all of that to say, we've seen the discourse. Is there anybody in this space, media or higher education, academics, that Dr. Umar is a fan of, that you do get along with, that you say, I rock with that person?
Tremendous respect for Dr. Claude Anderson.
Oh, of course.
Tremendous respect for David Banner.
Of course, my brother.
Although we're on opposite ends of the ideological spectrum, tremendous respect for my brother Killer Mike.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of folks.
You haven't named any educators, though, and that's I mean, other than Dr.
None
Claude.
of them you would name, though. They don't have the notoriety.
Okay.
But I had a lot of
even like in certain institutions. I mean, I just want to know, because when
Florida A&M University, Department of Psychology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot of them out there.
Okay.
You know, a lot of past presidents of the Association of Black Psychologists. Like, I have a secret cabinet of black scholars and educators who support me, but they can't do it publicly because they could lose their job.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
So and I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
Does Dr. Umar, because when I hear you speak about, Booker T, you speak of Garvey, you speak of Frederick Douglass, you speak of people that are no longer here.
Yes, sir.
That you look up to and admire. Are there any current mentors or trust or cabinets that you look to and say, when Dr. Umar is having an issue, this is who I go talk to. This is who I get it.
Like, I have so I got that educator, scholar, secret cabinet.
Right.
But then I also have an elder. I have my own council of elders.
Really?
But none of them are of national stature. So back in Philadelphia, I have 2 elder Moors. They're of the Moorish Science Temple.
Okay.
But they've been with me since I resigned as Minister of Education for the UNIA, Baba Jack and Baba Peace. You feel me?
Okay.
So I go see them. I talk to them. I got some queen mothers. I got elders spread out all over the world. I got them in London. I got them in Africa. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I call on them as necessary. Sometimes they just call on me and like, listen, we got to talk to you about something. I want to check you on this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I do have them. But I think it's best that they kind of remain unseen for their safety and for my ability to engage with them.
So,
because who's to say 5 years from now, Brother Nick, I got to go underground like an H. Rap Brown or a Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah.
And I got to hide out.
Yeah.
I can't hide out with them because I done told the world
who they are.
You see what I'm saying?
So would you say a brother in your position, or whether it's an activist or any type of leader, is that the advice to that one should always have a
secret cabinet, secret support network? Absolutely.
Right.
If you challenging the white power structure, you got to have people you can trust with your life, because one day you may have to.
So because we've heard all the conspiracy
and with that point,
yeah.
That's also why it can make it difficult for me to date. Because of the celebrity part of who I am, women often want to be able to brag that I know him personally.
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
Because what if I need to hide out at your house? I can't.
Right.
Because you done told the world we know each other on a non-public level.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the dating game gets tricky because women don't understand you got to shut up And what we got, you got to keep it to yourself because I might need you to do something for me that could be a matter of life or death, and I can't trust you because you're too loose with your lips.
Right.
You want everybody to know. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't do that when you dating the activists because I need people who I can go to in times of need and ain't got to worry about the FBI tapping your phones.
Wow.
But if you done made it a point to let everybody know, I know him.
You done told everybody on the gram.
I can't go to you.
So this is serious business.
It's
'Cause
very
what
serious.
I was going to tap into was,
And sometimes being the celebrity part, and I'm not a celebrity, I'm an activist, but being branded as a celebrity, it works against the activism.
right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because they think it's all the pictures and the memes.
Right.
No, ninja, we got work to do.
right.
And I brought people into my movement who I had to let go, Nick, in a matter of weeks because they didn't know we do work here, bro.
It's real work.
This ain't just Facebook and Instagram and speeches. We do work. And they only wanted to be around for the glamour and the glitz, none of the elbow work.
So that's what I was going to talk.
The gift and the curse.
Yeah, I wanted to dig deeper in that. Even talk about the severity and even the danger of the work that you do because it looks like, entertainment to a lot of people.
To a lot of people.
And they often, like I said, we've heard the conspiracy theories of yesteryear.
Yes,
Of,
yes.
the J. Edgar Hoovers and
those forces are still with us. New names.
Can you
same
tell?
system.
That's what I want to tell. Like, how dangerous is it to be Dr. Umar Johnson?
It's very
today?
dangerous. I get the death threats,
Really?
and I get them regularly. Oh, yeah.
And now, do you feel like that's, systemic? Do you feel like that's?
I think it's both. I think it's coons who tested me, and then I also think it's the power structure.
Really?
When I was in Costa Rica, speaking for Garvey Day a couple weeks ago, August 17th, and this is in one of the original Garvey houses because Costa Rica, one of the first places he went, even before he came here.
Wow.
In fact, he wasn't really known yet.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sitting outside after my lecture. These two guys came up and sat next to me, and they're asking me questions about Philly, and they claiming to be from Philly. So I start asking them questions about Philly, and they knew nothing about what I was talking about.
Wow.
And I said, they not from Philly.
Right.
These is agents. They were sent there to find out what I was doing there, to see if I'm causing trouble with the Costa Rican African people and so forth and so on. They were straight agents. I had a sister from L.A. who was an FBI agent.
Really?
She pulled me to the side. She wasn't assigned to me.
Yeah.
At least she said she wasn't.
Yeah.
But she said, yo, they watching you. I'm letting you know right now. They're watching you. And she said, don't be paranoid that the FBI is watching you. She said, you can never keep yourself too clean because she said, even if they don't find nothing on you, they'll make it up. She told me that. She said, if we don't find it, we will make it up.
And
she said, people go crazy trying to stay clean of the FBI.
Yeah.
She said, you can't. Because if we can't find it, we will manufacture it.
Especially today.
Yes. And I had
AI
an elder FBI agent. She came up to me after a graduation, middle school graduation that I keynoted in Southwest Philadelphia. She came and sat next to me in the, what you want to call it, the post-graduation social.
Right.
She said, I'm an FBI agent. Sweet little grandmother. She said, Dr. Umar, you got to be careful. They will send the people you trust the most. And because you have such love for us elders, they'll surround you with a bunch of elders. They won't even send a woman because they know you're still going to look at the woman a little half crazy.
Yeah.
But if they send you a 75-year-old grandmother, you wouldn't think twice. And she was sitting right there. Wow. So I've had FBI agents warn me to what they about.
That's heavy.
But here's what I say to all that. You cannot be worried about it. You have to do the work or give it up. Because when I look at El Hajj, Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X, when I look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I felt that they got so overcome with the threat of death that they secretly wished for it to happen so they could alleviate themselves from the pressure.
Just get it over with. Yeah.
I believe when their end came,
Yeah.
they were waiting on it.
Yeah.
Because
They
it's
know
like
they
y'all
spoke
keep-
of it.
Y'all keep threatening me.
Yeah.
Y'all keep saying it. And I just think that they wish that this will happen and not affect my wife and children. I think Malcolm and Martin's greatest fear was not to die. They knew they were going to die.
Yeah.
I don't want my children and wife to die with me. Remember, they bombed Malcolm's house.
Yeah.
They bombed King's house twice
Yeah.
with his wife and kids in it. And, of course, Malcolm and his wife and kids was in it. So in their mind, it was like, please, get me when they not around. Don't kill my family just to get me.
Is that why Dr. Umar stays single?
No, I stay single because I haven't found the queen. I'm not going to say haven't found because there's a couple sisters who might be. I'm going to say it has not yet been proven to me who the queens are. Once I find the right queen, I'm going to lock in. Of course, I'm going to have 2 queens.
Yeah.
So once I find the right queen, double up on everything. Once I find the right queens, I'm going to lock in. But I need women to get beyond the celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. This is pure activism. I was born to serve the people. You got to deal with the activism and not get distracted by the celebrity. When I find them, we can move mountains. Because I totally believe, Brother Nick, that if I had a wife, even if not 2, if I had a wife, I would have been able to accomplish so much more than I have in my life. I see where a wife would have definitely benefited my mission.
Wow.
You
Really?
feel me? Yes. I see it.
It's a strong statement.
See it.
So now,
And I know when I finally find her,
or them,
how much more I will be able to do.
So I got to ask you this. Does the mission change once Dr. Umar has a family, specifically even children? Because like you said, from the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings, there's now you are responsible for individuals and in households to where you may not be able to be. So
I follow you. Here's the question. When Frederick Douglass escaped from slavery in Maryland and Queen Mother Anna Murray Douglass reunited with her fiance Frederick Douglass and they got married, did he stop his work?
no.
When Coretta Scott King married Dr. King and they asked Dr. King to become the president of the Montgomery bus boycott, the Montgomery Improvement Association, did he stop?
No.
Did Malcolm stop?
No.
What leader do you know? Look at Nat Turner. Nat Turner had to die for black people and didn't give it up for his wife and children who he loved. You know, they tortured his wife and killed her.
Yeah.
After Nat Turner was killed,
Right.
they tortured and killed his wife.
Wow.
They killed a couple of his children. 1 or 2 got away.
Wow.
Right? So my point is, when I look at my ancestors, Medgar Evers,
Yeah.
nobody gave up the mission for the family. And if the woman is expecting you to abandon your mission, she's not the woman. And I've had women say to me, this is too much. You got to choose me or the people. Well, that's easy.
You got to choose the
You
people.
never win in that. The first wife is always the people. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, nah, nothing changes.